sure, there's a lot of people that are really good at making, let's say, shaders. But I mean, is that really what they want to do with the rest of their life?
Can you tell me a little bit more about the generative AI technology for virtual production? Because we played around with some tools that are in, let's say, 3D space, right? The 2D space is obviously, Midjourney is really dominating it. 3D space, we haven't really seen anything that is creating any impactful for production progress. I mean, some meshes, some, a more detailed blockouts, maybe, but that's something that could be done with an artist themselves. So what are the tools that you have played around, and what do you feel are the tools that would be creating an impact, and what's the size of impact? Are we talking, a year from now, no artists will be needed for virtual production, or 10 years from now? Like, where do you feel we're at?
As with any new tool, I mean, I think there's always going to be a significant number of people that are concerned that it might somehow cut into their ability to get work. And it's true. I mean, 30 years ago, movies were shot on film. And so there was a whole cottage industry of people who knew how to process film and how to get it to look its best, and how to, there was this whole infrastructure. And all those people, went from this was their bread and butter job to nothing. That doesn't mean they lost out on being employed at something forever. It just means they had to pivot into some new way to, a lot of the people that used to be really good at processing film ended up being really good artists for grading digital footage. So I think it's going to be the same with generative AI, that a lot of the kind of boring tasks that probably most people that do them for a living now would admit they're not hugely excited about, but it's a living, are going to be the ones that go away. And as far as tools that I've seen that might make that happen, one tool I think in particular that is not necessarily generative AI, but is neural network, is this this process called NeRFs, or Neural Radiance Fields. And all that is basically you create a model by photographing some real object. You can use video footage, you can use phone footage. Works best with phone because it's also capturing depth and sort of positional data. But basically what you're doing is you're digitizing something into the game world, let's just say. And what's cool about the NeRF is that what you're doing is essentially training a learning model so that it doesn't just capture it exactly in its present lighting, but it's capturing kind of how it reacts to light. Sure, there's a lot of people that are really good at making, let's say, shaders. But I mean, is that really what they want to do with the rest of their life? If it could say like, hey, you're actually just going to go out and photograph something for real, and the shaders will be calculated based on your capture, they'd probably be like, great, because that's kind of tedious work.
And have you seen those the NeRF tool already being deployed in the production of the movies or commercials?
Yeah. I just wrote an article about it for American Cinematographer. The first commercial that I could find is actually a commercial for McDonald's.
Anywhere but McDonald's, you still have no other choice at the airport.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's this girl who's kind of remembering her childhood going to McDonald's with her parents. And so most of it is just her talking about her childhood. But then when you see the childhood, it's like it kind of is this bullet time effect where the camera, it looks like a camera, but it's really just somebody like panning around in Unreal Engine, one of these NeRF models. That's the kind of thing you could probably do in real life, but it would be this insanely complicated, robotic camera move, and everybody would have to hold perfectly still. Whereas, they were able to plot it perfectly because they just had this very highly photorealistic looking model of the scene, and then they could, put the camera virtually wherever they wanted. So, I mean, yeah, these things are definitely just starting to land, as with, a lot of this sort of AI generative artwork stuff. And I don't think we fully sorted out the ethics of it in any way, but I mean, that has never stopped anybody from, just using them anyway.